School's out. Zack Snyder has a surprise for us, and the NCAA could return. Finally. Hey everyone, Bella Youngfellow here with Millennial Minutes, here to give you a recap of this week's hottest topics. Shh. In just under 5 minutes. Wow. Let's get started. Kids, it looks like you'll be going back to school this fall after all. Well, in Washington, D.C., of course. Well, that's because Mayor Muriel Bowser and other school officials are in talks on how they can modify the school operations to better accommodate the new normal of outside life. A plan that is under consideration is called a staggered schedule that includes students coming in maybe once or twice in 1 week with a class size of just 10 students. On the other days students aren't on school grounds, the students will simply stay home and learn remotely. Mayor Bowser is currently reviewing 3 options. Number 1, students will physically be in class for 1 day of the week, with the other 4 days being virtual learning days. Number 2, students will physically be in class for 2 days of the week, with the other 3 days being virtual learning days. And number 3, students will physically be present on the school grounds for a full week, but only on the 3rd week of every month. That's just one way as to how DC schools may be operating differently this fall. The other major change will be to school infrastructure as well. Classrooms will undergo a strict social distancing makeover to better prioritize students' and faculty's safety. More specifically, the goal is to have each classroom capable of having each person inside of it 6 feet or more away from each other. So much for copying the answers from the kid next to you, huh? But the changes don't stop there. According to a document obtained by NBC4 Washington, students and staff would have to wear face coverings, pass through a hand sanitizing station when they arrive to school, and then have their temperatures checked. Water fountains would be turned off, schools would undergo enhanced daily cleaning, and meals would be delivered to classrooms instead of having students go to lunchrooms. Mayor Bowser expects to allow schools to open in early August. Moving right along to our next topic, does anybody else remember that Justice League film that was released in 2018? Neither do I. If any of you do remember the film, you probably remember the lackluster plot and bad storyline, am I right? Well, it looks like the film may be able to redeem itself for its past sins after news that director Zack Snyder will be releasing his never-before-seen director's cut of the film onto HBO Max in 2021. Director Zack Snyder was the initial director of the film Justice League. Snyder originally had a full time length of 4 hours for the film as an optimal version, but the executives at Warner Brothers wanted a 2-hour film. So Snyder then went back to cut the film to a 2-hour time slot. But tragedy struck Snyder and his family after his daughter Autumn took her own life on March 17th of 2017. As a result, Zack Snyder stepped down from the film and all association with it while it was still in post-production. In his place, Warner Brothers hired Joss Whedon to finish the film, and what we were left with was the abomination we saw in theaters. I mean, did you see the way they CGI'd Henry Cavill's mustache in the first scene of the movie? It was terrible. Whedon's version of the film was able to garner $658 million worldwide, but was met with bad reviews from critics. Fans that were unhappy with the film took the initiative and began a small movement behind the banner called Release Snyders Cut. At first, it started as a petition, but soon it would become a cultural phenomenon as the petition reached 100,000 signatures in less than 5 days after the movie was released. The momentum of the movement reached its peak when a billboard in Times Square and a plane with a banner flying over Comic-Con both advertised for Zack Snyder's version of the film to be released. Now fans have gotten what they asked for, as Snyder has officially confirmed that his version of the film will be released in 2021. Moreover, the entire ensemble of the production crew is set to be brought back on board to continue Snyder's version of the film. What would be different? I don't know for sure, but I do hope it's better than what I saw in theaters. And for our last topic of the day, the NCAA has voted to lift the ban on football and basketball workouts effective this June. Let's go! We are Penn State! The decision was made after numerous college leaders were confident that sports will return in the fall despite pandemic concerns. However, I'm telling you, do not be fooled. The push for sports to return this fall is more than just about the love of sports, but in reality, it's the antidote that many of these schools need to the financial illness they've been facing due to the pandemic. Associated Press sports writer Steve McGargy wrote, "One of the people who spoke to the AP said the decision clears the way for individual workouts by athletes, mostly on their own, subject to safety and health protocols decided by their schools or local health officials. Most athletic departments need the revenue generated from football to fund other sports. hundreds of schools are reeling financially from the effects of the pandemic. Athletic departments, particularly at smaller schools and in Division II, have already cut a number of sports. Some athletic departments at schools have already drafted plans for sports to be played. These plans include restrictions on the number of fans in the stands and face mask requirements. The restrictions also apply to gymnasium workouts for athletes. McGargy goes on to explain, Ohio State is ready to open the 15,000 square foot Woody Hayes Athletic Center to athletes starting June 8th if the NCAA allows it. About 10 players at a time would be allowed to work out on a staggered schedule with social distancing and other hygiene precautions in place. Middle Tennessee Athletic Director Chris Massaro said his school plans to take the temperature of players daily and make sure they are wearing masks. Massaro has even discussed moving some equipment from the weight room to the Red Floyd Stadium concourse to make sure workouts allow social distancing. I'm just curious how you're going to practice social distancing while playing football. 90% of the time your body's on somebody else. I don't know, guys. I just want to watch sports again. Thank you so much for watching Millennial Minutes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll be leaving a link to all my articles in the description box below. So if you want to check them out yourself, go right ahead. Happy Memorial Day to everyone, and as always, stay beautiful.